I think people should recognize is this. A lot of this is their AI business. They're talking about exiting fiscal year with $6.7 billion in cumulative orders since Q1. A backlog of AI systems, $3.5 billion. This is right to NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA stock has stopped going up. I don't know why, but when you look at evidence like what Hewlett Packard Enterprise is doing, you feel pretty sanguine about it.
NVIDIA has been interesting in that even with all these lofty expectations, some of the scuttlebutt this week was that Rubin might actually be ahead of schedule and might be able to allow you to incorporate some more aggressive numbers for 25. That name just, it doesn't look back, it seems, Paul.
Yeah, the interesting thing here is people assume that it's egregiously overpriced because the stock did indeed triple in 23. It's going to about triple this year. So how can it be cheap? Well, in the meantime, their earnings and cash flow have grown much faster than that. So on a PEG basis, right, price to growth rate, I still think NVIDIA is reasonable. It's not cheap. I think it's reasonable. And I think it's more reasonably priced than some of the other better named tech stocks that people have kind of lured themselves into because they see relative value opportunities. I don't get that. And the Blackwell chip, what you're referring to, yeah, they might have some manufacturing issues in the first quarter. But the interesting thing is they're so far ahead with the technology that if they have any manufacturing stall, it is going to just delay sales that will come to them on the other side. It's not like they're going to go to Advanced Micro Devices or Intel, the gang that can't shoot straight. They'll be just fine, even if they end up having a manufacturing delay. And hey, we're all human beings. That may happen at some point.
Just to go back, Paul, it's just striking me what you said a couple of questions ago. Every fresh new dollar you get goes to NVIDIA or Amazon? Is that what you said?
No, I'm just saying that I have a much broader portfolio, including the cast of characters that you're familiar with. But if money was to come today, right, I'm really going to only be aggressive with those two names among the Mag 7.
Professor, how about that? And we've been showing this all week, the diverging paths of software versus semis in the market, which really started about 6 months ago in a narrow way and then started to extend itself in the last couple of months. Is there a message in that? How do you view those spaces if you look at it from that granular a level?
Well, I don't usually go that granular, Scott. I think in terms of the AI revolution in general, the story, the narrative is still intact. It has the potential to be a game changer for productivity. That is very, very good for stocks. Whether semiconductors versus the chips, and we still don't know. I mean, there's more than one firm that is entering. I mean, you take a look at a little weakness in NVIDIA today because of potential competition. We know there always can be competition. There always has. No one has stayed on the top of the heap forever, if you look at history. But it doesn't mean that this story has ended yet. And as I mentioned, the narrative is still very strong.
In conjunction with an amazing partnership with NVIDIA.
Well, it's almost like, though, no matter what part, let me use this analogy, of a car, you need metal for it. And the metal, in your case, is these chips. I know you have a relationship with NVIDIA. Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, just came on the Clayman Countdown a couple of weeks ago after earnings. And here's what he said about all the people, all the companies lining up and putting in orders. Listen, and then we'll respond.
Our demand is greater than our supply. It's hard to at this moment, keep capacity and infrastructure available for every one of them. And so we're working super hard to get there as fast as we can, which is the reason why we're ramping Blackwell so hard.
Can you tell me what kind of shipments you've gotten of the Blackwell chips, which are the newest ones?
So Blackwell is in transition as we speak. And I quoted yesterday that our current backlog, as a couple of days ago, is more than $3.5 billion. And more than 1/3 of that backlog is Blackwell, which we expect to fulfill during the early part of 2025. Because as Jensen said, he's trying to ramp that capacity in the manufacturing to fulfill all the demand. So we are already have Blackwell receipts in our supply.
Okay.
And then we're going to convert that backlog into revenue as we enter 2025.
Okay, but to be clear, they're in transit, or you actually have some of the Blackwell chips?
We have some of it, but we obviously need significant more, and then we expect the receipts of that as we enter the new calendar year, Liz.
Now, first, here's Oracle, one of the major companies building out these data centers. I think they'll show incredible strength. Amazing, really fabulous sales, because there's practically an endless demand for data centers. Let's see if they're still planning to build those things like crazy. Quickly, NVIDIA stock, of course, the data centers are filled with that, was uncharacteristically weak today. Made no sense because HP Enterprise, one of the biggest customers, reported a blowout quarter last night and said the business with NVIDIA is incredibly strong. We'll learn more from Oracle Monday evening, and I'm sure we will find out what the story was with NVIDIA stock, too. The story that some had today, and the rest, no doubt, we'll get on Monday.
All right, I hope you're all doing great today. The S&P finished the day up around 0.2%, and NVIDIA finished the day down about 1.8%. It seems that many market participants have shifted their focus away from NVIDIA temporarily to focus on other opportunities in the market. This is completely normal in between NVIDIA's earnings reports. Regardless of what happens with NVIDIA stock in the short term, the long-term thesis surrounding NVIDIA and the build-out of AI infrastructure remains firmly intact. And we keep hearing more and more great news for NVIDIA from companies like Salesforce, HP, Dell, and many others. I'm not concerned about the short-term price action because the long-term thesis remains in place. I am especially looking forward to 2025 when NVIDIA reports earnings in May and August. Those two earnings reports are likely to be very good given the production ramp of Blackwell. As I've said many times before, I am bullish on NVIDIA over the long term. Before NVIDIA's most recent earnings report, I said repeatedly that I would not be surprised if the underlying business of NVIDIA were to double over the next 2 years. And after NVIDIA's most recent earnings report, I still think that is a very plausible outcome. Many analysts think that NVIDIA is likely to grow about 50% in 2025, and I honestly think that is a conservative estimate. I think we could very well see growth exceeding 50% in 2025. Now, I have no idea what multiple market participants will apply to NVIDIA stock over that time. But if the underlying business grows, then the share price is of course likely to follow. The demand for NVIDIA's products is insane. Hyperscalers have yet to show any signs of reducing their capex on AI. Jensen Huang said NVIDIA will ship more Blackwell in the fourth quarter than they originally anticipated. Blackwell production is just beginning to ramp. We have a clear product roadmap from NVIDIA for the next 2 years with the launch of Blackwell this year. Then Blackwell Ultra in 2025, and later Rubin in 2026. And NVIDIA's strong positioning in software is also encouraging because this is about so much more than just hardware. It's also the software that runs on said hardware. And so I am bullish on NVIDIA for at least the next 1 to 2 years. As long as everything remains peaceful in the Pacific, and as long as none of the hyperscalers significantly reduce their capex on AI, then I think NVIDIA should be just fine for at least the next 1 to 2 years. At least that's how I view the situation. With all of that being said, I hope you all have a great weekend. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts about NVIDIA in the comments below. Please leave a like on this video so more people will see it. And while you're down there, please consider subscribing. It's free, and you can always change your mind. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.